Well, hello there. Carol Dockum here with Beautiful Faces Going Places Women's Success Network. And I am super pumped and stoked because it's a new month. It's a new beginning. Here we are at the beginning of November, and I just can't believe that we're gearing up to wrap up the new year. My motto for this month really is, let's make this a November to remember. It's not a time to pull back and go in slow motion. So I want to encourage you as a entrepreneur, small business owner, to keep going, stay in the pace, in the momentum, and stay in your A game. So let's make this a November to remember. So I'm super pumped here. We are bringing to you our virtual networking event. And what we normally do here is create this opportunity, this place to connect women entrepreneurs, not just locally, nationally, but globally, leveraging technology. So here we are today with these beautiful faces. Thank you so much, Lissa, Crystal, Teresa, Rebecca, and Deborah for joining us here today. I want to introduce to you our special host today, Deborah Fawaz of DDFaces. She is a speaker, corporate image consultant, wardrobe stylist, makeup artist. Businesses hire her to help them reveal their bold, brilliant personal style that makes a lasting statement. I want to just say that headshot photographers absolutely love working with her. And I absolutely love that Deborah really lives and breathes this motto: you never get a chance to make a great first impression. Deborah not only works one-on-one with her clients as a personal stylist and image consultant, but she also teaches and facilitates workshops. She gives speaker presentations on color, personal style, first impressions, personal style, first impressions, professional dressing, right? How to apply your makeup, polished grooming, and how to elevate your physical presence, not just online, but in person, to elevate your business success too. So please help me welcome Deborah Fawaz of DDFaces.
Thank you, Carol. She does have a script, but she always embellishes it, which always makes me smile. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So we are going to have a chance to introduce each other or ourselves to each other. Tell us where you live, where you are zooming in from as well, if we haven't already heard that. Before we do that, Carol, well, let me just keep going with the agenda. And then after we do that, I'm going to lead us in a conversation with some questions that I have for all of you, where there are no right or wrong answers. And it's a little bit selfish why I'm leading us down this road today, which you will discover in a minute. So Carol is hosting the 5th Annual Women's Success Summit on November 18th.
Yes, Friday, November
Friday.
18th.
Okay,
yes,
thank you.
All day women's conference.
Could you tell us about that? And then also, when you're not speaking, if you'll pop that in the chat so people can see where to look up for more information.
Okay.
And to register, because it will be not only in person, but it will be online. So the whole world has opportunity to join us for a day.
Awesome. Yes, I am so excited about our 5th Annual Women's Success Summit. And here's the reason why. Because the last 2 years, as you all know, all of us had to jump on virtual world. And believe me, I mean, I was shocked as everyone else, right? But I also knew that it was an opportunity to leverage technology and connect with amazing people around the globe. And so that I felt, for me, that was the silver lining in all of this, and which was my vision 6 years ago, to create this online chamber of commerce to support women in business, to bring in education, and create this platform for connections to happen, right? I always say you just never know. It just takes that one connection that can change the entire trajectory of your personal life, of your business life. But to really leverage technology to create this platform for visibility, education, and connections. Believe me, relationships is where the magic happens in your business. It really is the heart the heartbeat of your business. So yeah, our all-day Women's Success Summit is Friday, November 18th. We have a full lineup of speakers. In fact, Deborah Fawaz will be driving from Atlanta and joining us with a 1-hour Empower Hour image and branding. And Rebecca Victor will be joining us as a speaker as well. And Teresa Vermillion here, Lighter Life Coach. It's not about the cupcake. So it's just going to be an amazing day of impact, connections, and opportunity. So doing the happy dance that we're hosting this event after 2 years of just being virtual. We are now in person and virtual as well. So you can tap into us on Zoom if you'd like to, or come and join us in person. But I'll share all that information in the links below. Thank you so much, Deborah, for reminding me to share and showcase this 5th Annual Women's Success Summit.
I cannot wait to be with some women again and feel the texture of your jackets. Sounds weird. Smell your shampoo and your cologne. Those were all the things that we miss or were missing, you know, especially during lockdown time, is that we only had the senses of seeing and hearing. And so there was a lot left out of that experience. So that is the main reason that I am driving, because I want to present in person and I just want to hang out with fabulous women all day long. So the secret agenda behind what we're going to talk about today is you're all very smart, worldly, professional women, but I would kind of like to know in your brain where you are as far as thinking about personal branding, your brand, your logo, your personal style and image. So I'm going to lead us in a conversation about those questions to help me make sure that I touch everybody and meet your needs for this conference in November. So can you give me the grace to let me be a little selfish about my motivation today? Rebecca's got to think about it. She's not sure. So before we do that, if all of you would please unmute yourself and tell us who you are, who you serve, where you live, if you're thinking about coming to the conference, if we sparked a little bit of curiosity about that today, that would be great. And we are a nice intimate group today, so I'm going to say you can have a minute to talk, but if you see me like wildly waving my phone because the timer went off, that means exit stage left. Okay. We all get so excited about what we do. Sometimes we don't color inside the lines, right? So I'm just going to go in the order that I see people on my screen. So Lissa, would you share with us, please?
I would love to. So I'm Melissa Figgins. If we've not met before, it's Melissa without the M-E because it's not about me. I live in the St. Louis area, actually Southern Illinois, but very, very rural, small town nobody would have heard of. And I'm a simplified focused life coach. And my mission is to help build presence in busy faith-first women. Because as I look around, I see all these women, right, who desire to make the most of their time and make an impact, right? But life has this way of like hitting from all sides. And then how do you feel? Like scattered and distracted and like pulled in a million directions. And so you're not fully present anywhere, whether it's with your work and business, whether it's with your family and friends, whether it's just your own wellness. And that lack of presence starts to have an effect, you know, over time. And yet, even with all the noise around us, there's this little voice that says, like, that's not the life he intended for you. And so what I do with my background in teaching and coaching and leading women, Christian women for over 25 years, is help them push pause on all the things and really get clear on who they are, what matters most, and how to realign their time so that they can live that out and not give their best time and attention away to a bunch of things that don't matter just because it's noisy, right? And calling for our attention. So that's my heart. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Lissa. Oh, there's the little timer. Perfect. Hang on one second. I am not a good multitasker. I forgot you were in Southern Illinois. I just took a road trip to Illinois a couple of weeks
Ah.
ago. What's the closest recognizable city to you?
So we are, let's see, we're like an hour from almost everything. So St. Louis is an hour to the west. Evansville, Indiana is an hour to the east. Effingham, Illinois is an hour to the north. And Paducah, Kentucky is an hour to the south.
Got it. All right. I went to school, Illinois State University in Bloomington
Okay.
Normal. So,
Yeah.
all right, cool. All right, Carol Dockum, tell us about yourself.
Yeah, you bet. So, as I mentioned, Friday, November 18th is our 5th annual Women's Success Summit, and I'm inviting all of you to join us, attend, and listen. I think you're 2 hours from Greater Cincinnati, so come and join us. Bring a carload full. It would be so much fun. We'd love to see you in person. Yeah, so let's see here. I can't. I'm just like, I have too many wonderful things to share. Beautifulfacesgoingplaces.com. Take a look at all of our upcoming events. This platform is for you as a small business owner and an entrepreneur, woman in business. We'd love to see you and invite you to join us at any point in time. We'll plug you in and just have lots of fun together. So thank you so much, Deborah.
Carol, approximately how many online networking events does Beautiful Faces host every month?
Monthly, we normally have something at least happening once a week. So I'd like to, we probably have about 4 online events a month. We host a monthly lunch and learn networking event, which you can actually attend in person and or join virtually, whichever you choose. And we have members and guests from not just locally, nationally, but globally joining us online as well. So yeah, approximately once a week, so 4 a month. And then our monthly in-person, we're actually hosting a very fun ladies' night out for those that are local to Greater Cincinnati. It's called Bubbly and Bling at Kendra Scott in Liberty Township, 20% off your purchase, a little bit of networking. So we host kind of some wine down Wednesdays, Bubbly and Bling. Sometimes we host something fun in the evenings because many women, corporate world, right? Or if they're working 9 to 5, cannot break away during the day, but they can join us in the evening. So yeah.
Wonderful. You definitely work very hard to tick off all the boxes on availability for people, and I know they appreciate it.
Thank
All
you.
right, Miss Rebecca, love to hear from you.
Well, thank you, Deborah. And I really have to second what you said, Deborah, too, about Carol. It is a great organization, and the Women's Success Network is a lot of fun. We have a really good time, great information. And like you said, Deborah, it's going to feel so good to feel people's jackets again and smell their cologne or their hair shampoo. So I'm looking forward to that very much. My business is Your Joyful Path, and my heart's interest really is working with women who they're just at a point right now with everything changing. They don't want to just jump into something because it looked good. They want to tap in to what is most meaningful to themselves. And we can take a look at life and we can try to address everything that's going on outside of ourselves, only to find out that we still feel incomplete, that there's something still missing. And so this idea of living from the inside out is the idea of how is it to tap into who we are, so that we can live from a space of empowerment as we step forward in our personal lives, in our professional lives, and also in leadership. You know, it's learning how to lead. Everybody has a leadership style, and to tap into that means you tap into who it is that you are and what it is that you're bringing. So I work with women who are seeking those because women are frankly awesome. So I'm celebrating women. So thanks.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Rebecca. Let's talk to Crystal Springer, who is looking very lovely in that blue blouse today, I'd just like to say.
Thanks to you. I think about you every time I get dressed for an event. I know exactly what to pick out.
Just love being in all your closets at 8 a.m.
It has been so helpful because I am not the least bit style savvy. So it's nice to have had that input. I'm Crystal Springer, and my company is Brilliant Streams Technology. I help service-based entrepreneurs. So I talk here, Carol, you talk about leveraging technology. I'm like, yes, Yes, leverage technology to, reach more people, make it easier to do business. So I always say that if I focus on service-based entrepreneurs. If you're a coach or provide services, and it takes more than 5 minutes for a client to book, sign, and pay, you're probably losing business. Amazon has spoiled us, right? You go order and it's here in 2 days, instant gratification. So the easier that we can make it for clients, the more people are likely to sign up with us, do business with us. And then the less time we have to spend on the minutia and the back end stuff, the more time we can serve people doing the things that they need us to do. So I help, again, service-based entrepreneurs. I help bring more flow and less stress through systems automation technology. Crystal Springer, Brilliant Streams Technology, and I am so excited to be here with all of you.
Thank you, Crystal. It's great to see your face again. Teresa Vermillion.
Hey.
Hey.
Great to see everybody. And yeah, I'm going to echo just a little bit about Carol and the Beautiful Faces Going Places events, because 1 week from today we'll be doing virtual networking again, and I will be your lovely host. And I believe Wednesday, November 16th is our Empower Hour. It will also be at noon virtual. So 2 more great events coming up, which just also speaks to how hard Carol works at her job, creating the space for us to grow as entrepreneurs and business owners and people that are out there blazing a different path and helping others do the same. Like I always think, I'm gonna light the light and take as many people who want to come with me that'll come. So along those lines, I created Lighter Life Coach so that I could help guide women from overweight and overwhelmed to a lighter body and a lighter life. I am in Cincinnati, Ohio, a suburb of Cincinnati, Ohio. And, if I were to ask you, if you had a health goal or a weight loss goal, what are the things you need to do to reach it? Would most people say, well, diet and exercise? Because that's what we've been taught is the most simplest things. That's how you lose weight or how you get your health under control. And while that's not necessarily wrong, there's a big component to that that's missing, and it's the emotional wellness component. And that is the part that I dive into deep with women and help them understand what emotional wellness is, that you can work on it like you work on your physical and mental health, and how it's really what's keeping you in your way. That's what's keeping you stuck, whether it's a health goal, a weight loss goal, or a business goal, or a relationship goal, or any of those things. It's our emotional wellness. And so that is where I help people.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Do we get everybody? I think we did. Okay, awesome. So go ahead and unmute yourselves. I'm not going to tell what I do because Carol already told that, but I am going to tell you a quick little story of a client that I worked with recently who, had been kind of watching me, stalking me, following me, blah, blah, blah. And finally, she said, and you all, I'm sure, can relate to this experience. She's like, okay, I'm ready. I have a whole room, a separate bedroom in my house. It's just her and her husband. And it's like my dressing room. And so all my clothes are in there and my accessories. And I love clothes, but my body type has really changed in the last 2 years, and I got to clean some of this stuff out. So she thought she knew what color she was, but when I got there, I'm like, let's get in the sunlight and do this again. So we kind of tweaked the color analysis, and it was just a really fun experience because she ended up wanting to try everything on. This woman had on her Spanx, and she'd take this off and throw it at me, and I'd put it on the hanger and back on the rack while she was putting the next thing on. I mean, she must have lost 12 pounds because we were in there for 4 hours and she was really going at it. So I had a lot of fun, and within an hour and a half, she's like, I don't need to try that on. I know what you're going to say. Wrong proportion for my body. She started quoting me. And so it was very, very fun. I took an entire carload of clothes to Dress for Success, that she donated, and she has room in her closet. And she called me the other day and said, well, I got my income tax return back and I went shopping. Can I show you what I bought? I think I followed all the rules. So we did a Zoom and she showed me her purchases, and there was only one thing that I, wasn't crazy about. But when you work with me, I never tell you no. I never say, never wear that by your face, or, never wear bling or whatever. You need to create your own personal style. And I'm just here driving the train and encouraging you to stay on the track as much as possible. So that was a fun story. All right. So what I want to have us talk about today, and go ahead and unmute yourself because we're intimate. We're not going in breakout rooms. We're just going to have a conversation. So my talk is called Be Wildly Sought After, the 5 Essential Elements. And there'll be a PowerPoint and there will be some funny slides of me growing up in there. So you'll want to attend so you can chuckle. And what we're going to talk about is how is branding related to your personal image? Like Carol likes to say, you are your brand wherever you go. And I want to be clear that your brand is not your business card or your logo. It's you and how other people feel when they're in your presence and after you are not in their presence, how you leave them feeling, that type of thing. So let me put my glasses on because I'm not young. So when we talk about branding, like if you see, somebody advertising a branding Zoom or a course or a workshop, what do you think that might be about? What does branding mean to you? There's no wrong answers.
What initially pops into my head is what you talked about earlier, what we typically think of, the business, the logo, maybe colors for the business, not necessarily ourselves, like a separate thing from branding ourselves is what I usually think about.
So it's a real visual thing for you. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think branding is that visual also, but when you have that brand, it also goes from visual to going, oh, boom, as soon as I see that symbol, I know exactly the kind of experience I'm going to have with it and what I can expect from them, because there's a level of consistency in that brand that I can rely on, I think. That's the
right.
So.
Like the really well-known, like the Target brand, the Coca-Cola, the Starbucks, it doesn't just conjure up colors and symbols, but we kind of get a feeling from, like, I love to buy candles at Target. So when I see that red circle, I'm thinking, oh, do I have enough candles for the holidays, right? Or how Starbucks so started as coffee, but evolved to the meeting place for business people and friends, right? It's not just about the coffee anymore.
I think it's something that triggers that experience, right? So whether it's something visual, but it's going to take you to, oh, that's how I felt, right? Or that's what I was thinking, or this is, reminding you maybe of a need you have that came out in conversation with them or things like that. So it's kind of that brand though is what takes you, like either draws you in for the first time, if that, if you haven't experienced that brand before, or it takes you back to, this is the experience and how I feel because of this brand.
I'm looking down because I'm taking notes on all your
Me too.
intelligent answers. Thank you.
Me too.
Yeah, that's why I think for me, I would think like if somebody says your name, it's the next thing that pops into their head. Like someone says Deborah,
Okay.
they're going to think DDFaces, or Carol Dockum is synonymous with Beautiful Faces Going Places.
Very good. Love that. So this is a bit of a personal question, but I'd love to know, like, how did you create your logo? Like, what did you consider? What went into it? Or did somebody help you with that? And just how did that come about for you?
I created mine in Canva and I was rebranding at the time and had it was actually, yeah, a little bit of a challenge. My website person had done a few and I liked them, but there still felt like there was something about it that didn't sit. And I think the logo is interesting because I think of it then like, how is it going to look on a business card? How is it going to look when you're trying to arrange it into other graphic pieces?
Right.
If you go back and look at what a logo is supposed to be, it should eventually just be a standalone symbol. You know, we've all seen the marketing where people show that example, but so I just wanted something that showed how people felt when they have a lighter life, aren't
Right.
stuck in overwhelm or struggling.
What colors are in your logo, Teresa? I don't remember.
They're my brand colors, so it's a turquoise, a coral, and a purple.
Okay.
But I'm actually thinking about creating a new logo look, but it's also to go with ideas that I have.
Okay.
And I'm also, and so this is a great conversation because I'm also like, I feel like a lot of my brand really is just, it's not about the cupcake. I'm like, I'm wondering if I should make my brand a more of a cupcake thing. And one of, coaches that I worked with was on Instagram or something, and he did a thing talking about how you can make it such a personal thing about yourself that no one else could even copy. So yeah, it's interesting. I'm like, I'm gonna have to think about how it might have to be a cupcake with a sparkler because I have to keep the light in there too.
Right.
So
I
That's
think that'd be fantastic. Yeah, because it's going to draw people into, oh, it's fun and light and things like that, but also curiosity, leaning in and being like, cupcake, weight loss,
Could it be that true?
right? When I really eat
Hope
cupcakes,
so.
yeah.
100% true. And yeah, all the feedback you give me is much appreciated. Thank you. Keep going.
I like the sparkler part of that idea because it represents celebration, and there is a celebration that you're working towards, moving people towards, right? Celebrating themselves and what they've let go of. So I think that's cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else want to share about their logo?
I worked with a graphic designer branding expert for mine, she's amazing and helped. So I described my business and what I do, and I got to be a client, so she got to experience that. So she really understood what I bring, and she worked through the color psychology and small little visual details that I would have never even thought of, and pulled all that together and made things look seamless, a little streamlining idea. And she gave me some like marketing pieces, some taglines to use, and it really elevated me and my confidence in what I was able to convey to other people. So it was an amazing experience.
That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. I'm going to pick your brains about that when we talk next week.
That sounds good.
I just went through something because I have someone who's making some updates to my website, and I did my own logo and stuff. I just needed it simple because I help women simplify. So it had to be super clean, simple, but it was really interesting. We went through the story brand template, which is Donald Miller. If any of you are familiar with him, he shares a lot about it on his podcast. And it was just really phenomenal to like go through. And it was kind of a way of branding by telling the story of the person that you're serving and what their problem is and how it's affecting them and how you as a guide are coming. And so now I have this document that I can pull things from to create visual as well as written content, to put out there, because I know who I'm talking to and I know what she needs and I know what I have to offer and how I want to make her feel. Right. So that can be really helpful even before, because it's easy to jump into, oh, I like this color or this font or whatever, but really getting to the core of who am I here to serve and what difference am I making for that person? So that everything you create is representative of that.
Very nice.
Very well said. Very well said. So my story is I hired a marketing person. I was leaving direct sales and going out on my own and wanted my business to be a lot more about educating people than just helping them with skincare and makeup. That's the quick version. And so my initials are, my name is Deborah Fawaz. So that's where the DDFaces came from. That was her idea. She created it. I kind of picked out the colors, but it quite honestly, Crystal, it had nothing to do with research on emotions and branding and all that. Well, and she had a vision for me that someday I would own my own cosmetics company. She used to put these visuals in my head, like close your eyes and open the lipstick. And do you see on the lipstick, it says DDFaces. And I was always like, nope, not really, not seeing that. So years later, as my business kept evolving and, you know, the color analysis, the fashion, the personal styling, the closet audit, the shopping, all of that, I say to myself, gee, you know, I feel like I'm getting pigeonholed as the makeup artist, and I do so much more than that. And somebody said to me, well, Deborah, your company's name is DDFaces. And I'm like, yeah, and I'm not ready for a rebrand. So I'm just sharing that with all of you, that I'm kind of, I think my logo is very recognizable, and that, you know, and some of you have shared that, others before, like people know that's me and who that is. I don't feel like it's an overall good representation of what I offer. But that feels like really overwhelming to start that over. So I'm just sharing the things that keep me awake at night with all of you.
I'm so happy that you did, Deborah. I know with Beautiful Faces Going Places, and initially when I launched this vision about 6 or 7 years ago, running a chamber of commerce, and I had this vision of creating an online chamber of commerce to support women in business, leveraging technology, right? And Beautiful Faces Going Places came to me, but I called it a success boutique. So I actually have one of the first takeaway leave behind cards that I created that has Beautiful Faces Going Places, women's success boutique. And that really caused a lot of confusion. But I loved how you share your journey and how you evolved, creating all these new offerings, right? Eventually, I came to Women's Success Network because we are a network. And I thought, what is behind our network? And the word success came to me. It means a lot to me because I want to help not only myself be successful, I'd like to bring other women to be successful as well. And if we all could access resources and information to help us, right, become the best that we can be and be successful in business and in life and all that good stuff. But it just kind of evolved. And I want to be honest, I don't even have a real logo yet. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't think, and I still don't have a official logo. I knew I wanted the world map. You can see the world map behind me to represent we are going places in business and in life. And yeah, so I think my message really is, don't stop yourself from starting a business or to continuing in your business and offering your services and your expertise because you don't have a logo.
Yeah.
Like,
See, now that banner that you use on your website and all your communication, I know it's not a logo, but that banner to me is you. Like, that's where my brain matches those together.
I'm glad to hear that. I thought it, and I think someone here mentioned consistency. You know, it's like, okay, let's just be consistent. I know that is an element that represents us as a network, a professional women's network, that we are global, we are going places, the world map. So thank you. That's the one thing consistent I have going on.
Well, you have a lot of consistent things going on, but visually that definitely, I agree with you and support that.
I do too, Deborah. I think, and it's also Carol, because, you know, she's international, she's lived internationally, she's taught internationally. So I think it just speaks so much of her personal journey, like you were reflecting, Crystal, about that concept of that personal journey in the logo. And yeah, that's what I see, even though it's not like one sign or something like that. So yeah. Very cool.
It's a great representation of where she's been and where she's going.
Yeah.
Love that. Love that.
I think it's
All
so
right, go ahead.
entrepreneurs that we're constantly evolving along with our businesses, or our businesses constantly evolve along with us. And so maybe that's why it feels scary to lock into one logo or something, because we know how much it's going to keep growing. And my question back to you, Deborah, too, would be like, because you said it feels so overwhelming to start that process and to think about it. And I thought, what if it could feel easy?
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, the stories we tell ourselves, right?
It's a choice.
Where are you guys at 2 a.m. on a Thursday, huh?
Living light. No. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. What if it could be easy?
What if it felt easy? What if it, was
Right.
not complicated and not overwhelming, and you were just, and I would go back to, as soon as you were talking about your story, which was so great, how this person kept telling you what she envisioned for you. And right away I was like, okay, from a coaching standpoint, I'm like, you would never do that. Like, she's supposed to ask you what your vision is. And, you probably have that if you take those few minutes and sit with it and be like, what is this? What am I creating? Because it's already inside of you.
Right. Well, you say that, and that's funny because we met after a networking meeting in a booth at a restaurant, and she said, okay, first of all, I need to know, what is your vision and your mission? And I almost started crying. I mean, I was breaking out in a sweat, like it was a verbal test at school. And I already knew I was going to fail because I'm like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I just want to work with women. What do you mean? What's my vision? And so she was on the right track, but she really, I can look back at that 9 years ago, whatever it was, she really didn't know how to pull it out of me.
Right.
Like the experience that Crystal had that she was talking about. So I think it would be a very different experience, Teresa, to go through that now with somebody that is an expert at that.
And
Interesting.
can ask the right questions. That's really the key, asking the right
So
questions.
thank you all for reframing that for me, because maybe it could be exhilarating and exciting and not overwhelming.
Mhm. That's right. Just shifting the language that we use.
Right.
Mhm.
I told you all this was going to be a very selfish conversation all about me today. Thanks for supporting that.
Yeah, that's what we're here for, right?
Right.
Celebrate
That's
each other and
Well, I
build
love
a
it
business.
because and especially I know, the way you present things and bring things together, Deborah, that's going to help all of us, and anybody that's even watching or watches the replay. It's, it can be, and energy can be very collective. So if you're feeling it, chances are, there's a lot of other people that are like, this just came up for me yesterday, or you just don't know. So,
Right.
it's not selfish. It's something you are called to share and talk about.
Well, thank you, Teresa. You're always really good at summarizing things and pulling them together. And so I'm grateful for that. All right, we're going to take a little bit of a left turn here. I'm checking the time. When somebody says the word image, when you see the word image or you hear it or it's attached to somebody's name, whatever, what does that mean to you? Like, how do you define image?
I gotta think about that one because I tend to
Like
be
if
very
I
technical.
just said I'm an image consultant, what would you think? What would that mean to you?
How you help people present themselves to the world.
Okay.
I see total package.
Talk a little more about that, Carol.
When I think about the word image consultant or just image, I think about, what do you see? What do all of your senses, the total thing, say just from visually, really?
Mhm.
So, and we have a tendency to assign certain words to images, right? And create that picture of what that image looks like. So that's what comes to my mind. It's the total package,
Mhm.
tapping into a visual that's going to speak to us, and we're going to mentally assign words to it. Like,
Because our brain, whether you call it your unconscious or your subconscious, but our brain has a reaction to an image we see or something we smell, a fragrance, right? Or a color or a temperature or a memory, any of that. I mean, there's thousands and thousands of psychological studies done about how your brain and your body temperature changes, your heart rate might change, your eye, you might, they measure it by eye blinking, just all kinds of things. So it really is true. I teach this to people all the time in my workshops, that whole 7 seconds to impress is a true fact of the human brain. And even though as women, especially, I'm usually talking to women, as humans, we like to give each other grace and not assign that word, like Carol said, or put somebody in a category or put their hairstyle in a category or whatever it is. But our brain has already done it before we can consciously say, wow, that color looks really good on Crystal. And so it really does matter when you're putting yourself out there in the world.
Deborah,
So you can get that second chance and you can get to that coffee and get to know that person from the inside out, because they can't see your inside. They see your outside. They see how you enter a room. They hear your words. They watch your behavior. For me, that's the whole. And yes, your clothes and your hair and makeup are a part of it, but not all of it.
so I was just looking up the definition of image, and this word, sometimes it helps me just to pull different words. But this definition says the general impression that a person, organization, or product presents to the public. And I think that's what you just hit on. It's that impression. You have 7 seconds to make an impression strong enough that they want to stay. They want to lean in. They want to know more. They want to connect. They want to come back, whatever that is.
And I'm not going to spend too much time on this because some of you have heard me talk before, but for many, I like to tell my clients every time that you are networking, that your face pops up on a Zoom, that you're having a coffee with somebody, you need to think of it like a job interview, because you need to convince that person that they're worthy of you taking the time to get ready, whatever that means, to take your dog walking shoes off, to get the dog hair off your black pants, to comb the back of your bed head, like all of that, because our brain, we see all that. And so I need you to impress me that you made some effort to be here today. That doesn't mean a lot of makeup. That doesn't mean jewels. That doesn't mean expensive clothes. That makes sense? All right. Last question, and we'll close it up, Carol. On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is your image to the success of your business? Pick a number.
10.
12.
12.
Yeah, 10. Yeah. Well,
So
you know what? It
you
just
guys
depends.
really get it.
Depends. It depends, because the success of the business is your relationship with others, but it also depends upon how you internally are engaging. But image also can even if you don't feel good, sometimes taking care of yourself moves you or shifts you into the identity that you are wanting to reflect or create or be. So I have to say it would be a 10, a significant component for sure.
I'm going to echo that and say it's really important, but you want to make sure that the image that's being portrayed on the outside is exactly what they're going to get and then some, right? Because I think that's where the success in our business comes. It's not enough just to have people click on a link or visit your page or schedule a call, right? Our success comes from us actually be able to serve a client and make an impact and, you know, and all of those things. And so that will only come from them getting to experience that in a more personal way and saying, yes, I'm attracted to that image. So the two go hand in, it's all part of the image, right? From the beginning to the end, but it can't just be what they see on the outside.
Right. Yeah. We talk about, it's important to be a product of your product. You know,
Which is
so
why I cannot be a
Yeah.
hot mess at the grocery store ever.
and it doesn't mean that, I mean, to your point, I mean, like, you're also a human and you have a real life and you're a person, and, you know, but it's like if people, you know, if every time you saw me, I was complaining about something or unhappy or, you know, talking about being depressed,
Right.
you'd be like, how does this lighter life thing work out?
That's so true. You have to walk your talk, no doubt.
Or
I've got to say, I love this topic and conversation. Deborah, thank you so much for leading this. I want to just share my takeaway regarding image and branding and first impressions or lasting impressions. But my biggest takeaway is really about the experience and the feeling beyond our colors, our logos, our, you know, website and business cards. It's about the feeling and the experiences that we create for other people, that we interact with day in and day out, virtually and in person. So that's my biggest takeaway, is to extend that brand and image beyond the basics, ticking those boxes, but it's about the experiences and the feeling and the impressions that we leave on others beyond the standard marketing 101, branding 101.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for that. Well, I enjoyed our conversation today. I took a lot of notes. I'm going to go back and watch the replay to take some more notes so I can focus a little more on your content. But thank you, everybody. For me, that felt like a good conversation. It was helpful to me. And you know, there's so many times that there are things that we know, we've experienced, we've been taught, but they get buried in the clutter, right? And so a conversation like this, even though all the information may not be rocket science or brand new to you, it does push it back to the forefront of your brain. And so I'm grateful for all your input for that.
Deborah, thank you so much for hosting today's virtual networking event. I want to give a huge shout out as well to Lissa, Rebecca, Crystal, and Teresa. Thank you so much for sharing your brilliance, for being a part of this special hour. Deborah, where is the best place for our viewers, whether they're catching us live or the replay, to connect with you to learn more about your services?
Sure. My website is DDFacesByDeborah.com, the long way, Deborah. Well, you can see my name in the square, the long way. And so all my services are on there, and there's a link to schedule a chat with me.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much, Deborah. And reminder, next week, Teresa Vermillion will be hosting our virtual networking event. That's Thursday, November 10th. And then our next virtual will be hosted by Lissa Figgins on Tuesday, December the 6th, 12 to 1. So as you can see, we create all these opportunities for you to connect with other like-minded women in business and entrepreneurs, learn and grow on this entrepreneurial journey together, and catch all of our events at beautifulfacesgoingplaces.com. I'd love to connect with you as well. All right. Take care, everyone.
Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.